right. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Be Insightful in Technology podcast, where I'm your host, Shakira Johnson, also known as Shy, and I'm here to help you gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. So let's get into today's episode. We have a returning guest who was eager to be back on the podcast, which I appreciate. So he recently started a new job and he wants to talk about that and go into his goals and dive deeper into what it's like once you achieve a goal. What do you do next? So we have Byron Davis back on the podcast, and I'll let him, explain more about how did he get his role and what is it like so far.
Thank you. And it's always a pleasure to do this. So yeah, definitely, I'm excited to do it. So my role, kind of like an update from last time, I was previously doing like what do they call it, BPO or business product outsourcing for Microsoft. So I was Microsoft support through a company, and I had worked it for a while until I made it to the tech lead role. And by the time I made it to the tech lead role, I stayed in it for like 6 months to a year because, everyone wants to have that reputation on their resume. Like, oh, this will look good on the resume. Like, let me hit the 1 year mark. So I did that, and I quickly found myself wanting to do something else. So I've been putting out applications and staying consistent, because consistency is the biggest key when it comes to anything, in my opinion. Um, and what's funny is I actually had a friend or coworker who worked where I worked at, and they went on to Comcast. But they went on to Comcast as a Knock One engineer. And so by the time he actually made it to the new role, he started working at Comcast as a Knock One and was trying to get me on to do the same thing. And so I was actually talking to one of my homegirls about it, and she was like, "What's the pay?" So I told her, and she was like, "I feel like you could do way better than that. Like you could, hold out and set yourself up for what you actually want, and settling for what you feel like you're valued at, because that's all that's available." I was like, "Okay, I understand that." So I got on Comcast website and I applied for a different role. And that role is what I have today. So I am a support engineer for their Comcast ad services department, specifically under one of their satellite companies, Freewheel. And yeah, we just do support for all like back end server management for a lot of the premium video and digital content that people watch. So any ads that pop up on HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, well, Netflix is managed by Microsoft now, but anyways, any ads that pop up on anything in general, we do the back end serving of those ads. And I didn't know it was as technical as anything I've done before, but it is pretty technical. They do anything from, your general broadcasting. They're all about merging linear video with digital video. And I don't know if everyone remembers the switch when all cable went digital and like the people came out and converted your boxes. That's essentially what, started this. And so it's still like, it's a big business, it's a big industry. And a big thing about it that I feel really find interesting is the fact that everything happens in seconds. So it's like, there's always this like upkeep or management of something going wrong before it goes wrong. And I want to point out a lot of key differences about the realm of this job of support versus what I was doing before. One of the biggest differences at this point, I've only been in the role for like 3 weeks now. And already everybody's like super ecstatic. I'm on the team. Everyone's, telling me their own life stories, and like imparting their knowledge. But there's always that buffer zone of like, you know, um, there's always that buffer zone of, oh, it's going to take you 3 months before you actually know what you're doing. And, you're going to have a period of time where you're going to go through training and everything. And for me, like I was that person telling somebody that, but I also have to remember at one point I was that person being told that in my previous role. So it's kind of like you have to bring yourself down a notch to level yourself back up. And I felt like that was the biggest thing that I was battling with, because I felt like a lot of the senior engineers were, I'm not gonna say talking to me like I'm stupid, but trying to put it in layman's terms so that it's universally comprehended. And I'm like, you don't have to talk to me like that. Like, you can just talk to me at the level that you're at, and I'll try to get it, because I prefer to do it that way. Because I get into the technique and the routine of like communicating the way that they communicate, troubleshooting the way that they troubleshoot, and stuff like that. So we didn't start shadowing until last week, and when I say it's like night and day compared to my other job. Like, literally, no one could have told me that someone's in a role doing what I'm doing, making significantly more than what I was making, doing less. Like, and it's insane to me. So, and I wouldn't necessarily say in doing less. I just really feel like the previous role was worked to the point where there was always something to do, to the degree of, even if you had downtime, you were still working. And the expectations set by management were unrealistic. So it's like they'd rather you be working than having a work-life balance kind of thing. Whereas the Comcast and the company that I work for is a lot more focused on you. Like, because the better that you are, the better you can support the product. So they're a lot more focused on like your common love. So like, for example, I was supposed to go into work yesterday and do a half day. It was a company half day. They put out the schedules and everything, and my manager messaged me and was like, "You know what? Take the whole day off on the house, and we'll see you next week." And so they also have these things called flex days or summer days, where they incorporate company-owned PTO on top of the PTO you already have from the company, as a way to mitigate work-life balance. So they give you extra PTO that's classified as something else. You can take them whenever. And with us just coming in, like in the middle of like summer being over, essentially, they gave us our days anyway, and was like, we recommend you take them around Labor Day weekend. That way you have an extended weekend. And so I don't go back to work till Wednesday. And I just thought that was crazy, because and most people are like, it's Labor Day. Like, what? My previous role, I worked every holiday.
Oh, really?
Every holiday. Every holiday, even the Fed holidays, and I only supported government contracts. I worked. I was on the clock. And it's like, it felt good to be, I don't know, appreciated and valued without having to say anything or ask for it. Like, it's just there. Like, it's just
Like, that's the
expectations
standard.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like trying to, a big thing about that, and I'm gonna touch on in a second. Trying to like accept that as like, this is what you've been working for and this is what you deserve, is, I want to say, hard to come by, because once you're in the cycle or the routine of doing what you've been doing, if it's been 2, 3, 4 years, doing what you've been doing, I feel like there's a certain level of comfortability that people get. They become content, and they just go with the motions. Whereas if you're study trying to excel and level up, so to speak, like, you always have to have a point of, okay, where do I progress from here? Where am I going with this? Because I don't think anyone's just working to be just working. I feel like they have a goal or an idea in mind. So I feel like that's big. So in doing that, a lot of the connections I have from my previous role, I've tried to assist them in doing the same. Like, it's possible, you can do it. Like, I've done it, you can do it. And like, telling them my experience and what I went through, same resources I use, revamping my resume entirely, my LinkedIn entirely, giving them the same steps. And it's just crazy to me that, like, the differences in mindsets when you communicate that information, because it's like, some people will sleep on it. Some people will be like, oh, well, that's good. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. And you never hear back from it. Like, they haven't tried applying. Oh, I'm just going to stick with this. And it's just like, but at what point, are you going to do what's best for you than what's best for, I'm not going to say your situation, but what you feel like you can only amount to right now. So it was a big thing. So I've since tried to only help those that
Want to be
look
helped?
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that want to be helped because I feel like I want everybody to win. So I try to like
Yeah.
overextend myself, but you can't do that because there won't be any you left for you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So a big thing that I really try to do now is just kind of like highlight my experiences. I try to talk to like-minded people that went through the same thing because you can always learn something from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just there's just a certain level of like I don't know like interest I have with talking to people that go through the same thing. So which is why I want to do the podcast. So yeah, big thing. Because I remember we were talking about like benefits and like what they originally outlined in the offer letter and stuff like that, what to expect, and, what your day is going to look like. How would you say like you transition from your previous role to the role that you have now? Like, what are some big key factors that help you like jumpstart?
All right, so you were talking about how like you go from working like every day to you actually get time off and you get to do things like that. So that was a big difference for me. Um, because I was in like the network operations role, and with that, I was doing 12 hours. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like 3 days a week or 4 days a week, and we just alternate like
Mm-hmm.
that. And it was so hard when it comes to like taking days off because apparently my people wanted to do stuff on the weeks that I had to work like the middle of the week. And it was just
Mm-hmm.
like, it felt like I had to take off so much time in 12 hours of time. And they give you like the standard, I guess, what, 48 hours? That eats up a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Like that, your PTO time be gone. So
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the big transitions. Um, Offer letter, knowing like all the benefits, like company paid benefits, as in we had like a wellness package and we also had
Mm-hmm.
like the healthcare and stuff were good. Like essentially if I'm single no dependents, okay? So the healthcare was paid for. And if I wanted extra,
Mm-hmm.
I just get extra. That was one of the big things because like the packages were good. Like I really understood more of like, okay, this is what people look forward to in healthcare. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily paying like 200 on my check a month.
Right. Same.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot less than that, but better benefits. And
Right.
the work-life balance is definitely important. Like I realized I'm in a project-based role. In my last role, it was more so like take calls, put out fires as you get them. And
Mm-hmm.
it was technically always something to do. With this role, it feels like there's always something to do because I'm always trying to learn something. I'm always trying to talk to people who are doing stuff. Like my goal is to become a network architect. So I want to learn and take in as much as I can. So the benefit here is that I get to talk to anybody no matter what level that they're on. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody is so open to helping you out. They want to learn what you do, you want to learn what they do, and it's like it's no barrier. It's no real like I'm in like a senior level role, you can't talk to me. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
none of that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the best things because I'm always looking to pick up something, always looking to learn something. Like I speak with managers, regional leaders. I've even spoken with VPs. Like it's gotten up to that point where it's like I could talk to whoever.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I like to zone in on because when you're looking for a job and you're looking to shadow another team, like if you're looking to move around the company, you can talk to those different teams that you're looking to move over to. So that's one of the important things I like to zone in on. Network at your company. So
Mm-hmm.
that's important. Other benefits were just, the general stuff, your compensation package, that stuff like there. That is one things I don't necessarily know if I can be as open about, but I can give general concepts on. So when you get your compensation package, you can try to negotiate. You can make sure that everything looks right. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I got hired on, like everything was pretty much double of what I had in my previous position. So and
Mm-hmm.
extra. So I wasn't fighting it. Okay. I went for what I wanted because this is exactly what I knew what I wanted. And the thing is, like,
Right.
it's starting, this is like a university grad hire role. So it's pretty much like technically for them it's at the bottom. So I was speaking with like some of my other coworkers. This is one of the things too. Like nobody's really afraid to talk about anything here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, pay raises, how big do they go up? They go up big.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things where it's like that's something that I look forward to. You get your stock, your equity, it gets vested, I think, every quarter. And you can sell those, you can keep those, up to you. And then there's more so like bonuses that you can make sure you keep track of. They help you with financial planning. Oh, the one thing to free financial coaches and planners you can talk to. That is so important because if this is like, I would say your first job where you're making like I say big girl, big boy money, you need someone to help you handle that money because you don't want to become a victim of the lifestyle creep. You just like, slowly more expenses and all of that. So that's one of the important things. And they also have like legal stuff. Oh, estate planning, like you create your wills, your trust, your everything. So handle that. Handle that. Um, what is it? Life insurance. Make sure you get life insurance. Black people need to get life insurance. I don't care if it's yeah, Black people get life insurance. And put that together. Like I was reading what the Rockefellers do and the way that they keep their money like rolling in, like of course the businesses, but they also replenish with life insurance. Like life insurance goes to the trust, it keeps going, keeps flowing. It's like the waterfall method. So and you can also borrow against, the trust with your life insurance and all of that. That's like a whole nother topic. But understanding that process to help you get set up for life is one of the best things, and that they offer so many services to you for free as being an employee of the company.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are my big important ones that I primarily focus on because they're the ones that actually help you throughout life. And why not utilize them? You at a company. Oh, and they also have conversations, like they have resource groups, pretty much like women groups and Black people groups, stuff like that. Things to just find common people in your industry because it's real hard out here in these streets. So talking to people like them, because they have people that have like their chats or lives that they have where they just talk about different subjects. There was a Black women financial like cohort that they had. And I was just watching a video earlier where they had real estate. They had people at the company that was doing real estate and all that other stuff. So you can find people doing what you want to do at this company because it's such a high level where everybody here, they do something else because they have the ability to do something else. So that's a good thing right there.
I will say a big thing out of everything. Well, one thing I want to focus on out of what you said was like when it comes to like negotiating and stuff. I feel like now with the experience and the exposure that we have to like, this new role, this new environment, we'll only be better prepared for the next opportunity down the line because it's like literally. So when I was negotiating my offer, I put my number out, and my number was like not even their minimum. And I was like, oh. And it made me feel dumb. I'm not gonna lie. It made me feel dumb. It made me feel like, damn, like that's what I value myself, that kind of thing. And it really didn't hit me until I talked to my manager. I want to say, I talked to him Thursday. Yeah, I talked to him Thursday. He's actually leaving to go on to another opportunity. And he was very sour about it because he was like, the new people just started and, he didn't get a chance to like work with them and everything. And so like, since it was before the holiday, I think his last day is like sometime next week, but some people have PTO. So we spent Thursday playing trivia. Like we played trivia for like an hour, 2 hours as a team. Like his boss's boss was in the meeting playing trivia with us. And it was so cool because it's like, I've only done stuff like that in like a training setting, like the first week coming into a role as a class with other engineers, and like the training person is doing like cahoots for, whatever random tech knowledge. But this was like genuine fun of like, hey, we're just getting together to hang out kind of thing. And the fact that it's fully remote is a plus. Remote work, I am pro remote work. Yeah, I don't mind the office, but I am pro remote work. I feel like if you could do your job at the same degree, if not better, at home, you should do it. But big thing, he was like, I told him, I was like, well, I appreciate, I haven't even been here long, but I appreciate the time that like, you've invested into the team. I can just tell from everybody's response and reaction to you, and the way that they interact with you is the fact that you're an integral part of the team and everyone's, hate to see you go kind of thing. And he was like, I appreciate that. And I was like, no, I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity. And he told me, and I quote, I didn't give you anything. You earned it. And I was like, huh? Like what? Like, and it really goes to show like you really need to value yourself more and count on yourself more in situations where you may not look for it, but there's a certain level of validation that people want from other people. There's a certain level like it brings a certain emotion, I feel, that makes people feel good. Like, oh, well, you see what I see, or you see what I'm going for. But to get that from yourself, I feel like it's harder to do, especially when, you've been set up, like, at least I have, since I was a kid, like, I would go and get good grades, and then I would go home and show my parents, and it's like, oh, we're proud of you. Like not having that on a consistent like basis when you like reach milestones and stuff, you have to look more internally, and I don't feel like I do that enough. So even when like I do things or like I don't know, exceed or excel or anything, I just find the next thing to do. I don't take
Oh,
time to
same.
celebrate. Like I just I don't I still have work to do. I still have stuff to get done. Like I will be, and I told somebody that because they were like, well, why don't you why don't you do anything? And I was like, I want it to be to the point where when I am finally done, like when I am done, like I'm done working, I'm done doing the tech stuff, I'm done like when I just want to relax or retire or whatever you have it, travel for the rest of my life, I want to be able to look back and then celebrate and be like, damn, I did do this. Damn, I was a part of this. Like, I feel like that's the time I'll have to actually celebrate.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that you mentioned that because like I do the same thing. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
until, well, honestly, it wasn't until like this relationship that I'm in where I'm just like, dang, I really do not celebrate. Like literally right after graduation, I felt the most proud of myself. I was just like, I did this, I got it done. And then I went to
Mm-hmm.
work the next day and I was just like, oh, I really did
Right.
not take no time to really like bring it in. And I'm realizing now because I created an 8-day plan for my birthday because I wanted something to celebrate. Because I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
my birthday goes around. I don't really do much. I need to do something exciting. But I was like, I need to be worthy of celebrating it. Like I can't just be proud that I'm alive or something. So
Right.
with that, I realized that taking like once you accomplish a goal, go celebrate. Like you earned that, you did what you had to do something that makes you happy. And I realized that, after I set a goal, I really am on to the next thing because actually completing goals is what makes me happy. So I'm like in this endless cycle of like, I did this. Okay, happy now. All right, I need something to do so I can be happy again. Let me like that's the cycle that I'm in. And
Agreed.
yeah, it's just like what do people do to celebrate? Like something that somebody else does for fun may not be the same thing that I do for fun. Like I enjoy learning. That's my fun thing. So I'm just
Right.
like, if I'm not doing that, I'm not having fun. So, but going through a vicious cycle of completing goals and trying to get something done, it can become exhausting. So taking that time, celebrate is important.
And like visit my parents in college, like it would just be such a relief that I'm not doing any work that I would sleep the entire day. Like the entire first day, I'd sleep 12 hours. And then it's just like, oh, well, we saw you. We said, hey, but that was pretty much it. Like you went straight to sleep. And it's like, I didn't, in my head, I wasn't tired, but when I laid down, it was a wrap. Like, and so it was like,
Your body is exhausted from having to do all of this.
and doing that, and people don't get like working while being in college. Like people that have the luxury of just going to college, like it is, there should be no reason your work's not done. Like there should be no reason. Like I work the 40, 45 hours every week while in college. And it's like, I still managed to get my work done. I still managed to have a good GPA. I still managed to graduate with honors. I still managed to get scholarships. Still managed to get my internship, my study
You gave
abroad. Like,
yourself no excuses, okay?
right.
And we all applaud you for that. But you have to also remember, like, this was tough for me too. Like, literally
Mm-hmm.
since 16, I was working, and when I didn't have a
Same.
job, I was depressed. Like, I was one of the people where I need to
Mm-hmm.
have something to do. So, look, I'm doing therapy coaching. I have like a therapist, but I call her my therapy coach. So, she is just saying, you cannot expect other people to do stuff that you do. You hold yourself to a higher standard. And if that's not the standard they hold themselves to, you gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. And it's just, you
I,
know.
I level with that to an extent, but at the same time, I feel like people that look at that from the outside looking in look at that as a level of like elitism. And it's like, I'm not trying to be elitist. I'm just trying to set myself up for success. And if you're not aligned with that, then there's no reason for me to try to like project that on you, like, or try to make you a part of that process. Like, but I get where they're coming from to a degree. On a superficial level, I guess it could be elitism, but whatever. Um, but my big thing is like, it's just, there's no, I guess really for the people that are going to watch this or listen to this, and they're in the space of, because you could go back and listen to the previous episode. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was just looking for something, and here we are, not even 6 months later, and I wanted to share my experience because it's unique to everybody. There is no like rule book or guidelines on how to do this. Like we're literally just out here winging it every day. In no in no sense of the term. Like we're literally just out here waiting for the next catastrophe to happen, and then we pick up the pieces. And that's how I prepare for stuff. I'd rather be over prepared and look out for worst case scenario than just gliding through life and then I'm blindsided. But there's no like I said, there's no structure to it. There's no like there's only like what other people have done.
Yeah.
And when you watch these videos and these teachings and these, master classes and stuff, it's literally people sharing their experience. So I would say always keep that in mind when it comes to looking for new opportunities or venturing into a new field or industry or career or just a hobby. Like you have to go at your pace, but also make sure that your pace is consistent because people will say, oh, well, yeah, I was looking into that, but I kind of put it down because it's something else came up, and then they just didn't get back to it. And it's like you're only doing yourself a disservice by not being consistent with what you feel like you know you want out of life, so to speak. And so I don't know. It's a like no one like my mom went to college, but she didn't prepare me for college outside of you know making sure I go to class every day, making sure I had access to extracurricular activities and stuff in high school. Actually, in college, it was just me. um, Applying for jobs, and the big thing that you said, like right after you graduated college, and you went to work the next day, like okay, what's next? What really hit me was the fact that something that I felt like was this ongoing process that I just had to make something happen out of, and I had to see through, and I wanted to make my parents proud. It wasn't even about me finishing college for me. It was about me finishing college for them because of what they went without so that I could finish college. And when I graduated, I think it was like a week. And I was like, damn, that's it. Like they give you your diploma, like they lock you out of your school account. Like that's it. Like you are no longer a student. You're technically a working young professional. And it's like, where? Like nothing's changed from me graduating, like outside of me graduating. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that realm because during that time, I want to say those were probably a couple hardest years of my life. Post college, trying to find the opportunity. The people that were able to find an opportunity in their field, you know, at the levels they wanted to be at, essentially where we're at, but right out of college, like graduating into a job. I feel like they're lucky, but it wasn't until I had a conversation with one of my peers who was part of my major who did exactly that. And he just left his job fresh out of college for another role. And he was like, bro, you didn't miss anything. Like it was awful. Like it was awful. Because I feel like people have this certain sense of like company loyalty when it comes to, or they're just like a quote unquote slave to their job when it comes to them trying to overperform or overdo or, you know, excel at the role in order to have some sense of like job security. I feel like you should be able to be yourself at a company or at a role to an extent that you don't feel like it's work, but you still know you have work to do, if that makes sense. Because it's like, I shouldn't feel like I'm not gonna say I shouldn't feel like I have to be here, but I shouldn't feel like, you know, me going to go let somebody in, like, or me going to go answer the door because of a package here. Like, if I do that for 5 minutes, I'm gonna get fired. Like, I shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Right. Like, like, where were you? What were you doing? And like, some people feel like micromanaging really helps. It works for some people, not for me.
Where does that work at?
And for some people it does. Some people like being told what to do. Some people like
They
and
want
I
to
can see
alleviate the thought of what's next. They want it to be given to them.
exactly. Exactly. And my thing is like I would rather get in a conversation with you, pitch scenarios of what would you do here or what would be the correct thing to do. Because even in my training, like I pick up on some of the way people like troubleshoot and say things. It's like I would have done this here. I wouldn't have. I don't even know why we're asking this, but you know, that's what helps them. So I'm not gonna down them for what helps them. But big thing, I feel like is a major takeaway is keeping in mind what you want next for yourself, but allowing yourself time to relish in what you have, kind of thing. Because you're gonna have people that make you feel bad for doing better. You're gonna have people that are like, oh, let's be nice, or everybody can't be like you, like stuff like that. And I don't think they do it out of a sense of like jealousy or negativity, but it's more so like, you know, I guess my question would be to them in return would be of why can't you kind of thing? Because
Yeah.
I was in the same situation you were in. And if you need help, just say that. Like, but we don't have to be on different sides of the coin if we were both on the same side of the coin, not even 6 months ago. So it's like I try to help people, and I really want everybody to win, but I feel like that's also my downfall. Like you can't help everybody. Um, and it's hard for me to not help somebody if I feel like they could be helped. So,
Same, same. Is learning to take that step back for people that don't want to be helped, because there are a plethora of people that do want to be helped.
mm-hmm.
And once you stop giving attention, or at least feeding into the people that don't really want the help, the people that will come to you have more time to dedicate to them, and then it's more useful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more, I guess, it's a rewarding feeling that you're able to help somebody that actually wants to get to their next step. So,
Yep.
Don't beat yourself up because you can't help everybody win. People have to realize the potential within them and go for it. So if they don't realize that, that's on them. We all have our own lives to live, and it is okay. It is okay to move forward and like step away from people that don't want to progress. Or, everybody has their own journey. They realize it at different times. So it's okay.
Agree.
But we got to wrap it up. And thank you guys for tuning in to the Be Insightful in Technology podcast to help you gain some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology.
Thank you.